NIO Day has finally arrived, and as I predicted in my last video, it did not disappoint as we got the details of all the exciting announcements that had been circulating through the interweb throughout the last month. In today's video, I summarize the details of what was announced, and I talk about the NIO stock and two other stocks you should consider for your portfolio in light of this electric vehicle revolution. Hello, you wonderful people out there. My name is Chris, and welcome to the Business Report Show, where I give my insights on the world of business and investing. Now, a couple things before we begin. Please hit the subscribe button, and if you do end up enjoying this video, please give it a like, as every little bit helps. Second, I'm not a financial advisor, and what I'm discussing are just my opinions. There's no guarantees of success. Always seek a professional before investing. All right, NIO Day 2020 kicked off with music, cinematic videos, and of course, a plethora of announcements from NIO. Now, just an FYI, it's NIO Day 2020 because it's based on the Chinese calendar, which moves to 2021 on February the 12th. Now, most of you have probably seen the live streams already. If you've got a couple hours to burn, it's definitely worthwhile to check the streaming event. I'll put the link to NIO's YouTube stream below. Now, the big announcement, of course, was the new sedan, the ET7. I will give Tesla full credit for transforming the design and way consumers look at electric vehicles. EVs have been around for a long time, and General Motors really was the first to sell a retail EV. The EV1 unfortunately was hideous and was only able to attract the EV purists and could not get mass adoption. It suffered a sad death when GM shut down their EV program. Now, to get EVs to the masses, you need to make the car look good, and NIO's ET7 is one beautiful looking car. The exterior features dual beam LED headlights, double dash daylight running lights, integrated X-bar, a three-dimensional crystal light, heartbeat taillight, and laminated all-glass roof. I gotta say, I love the all-glass roofs on cars. Now, the design lines of the car gives it a 0.23 drag coefficient, making it quite aerodynamic, which improves battery mileage on the vehicle. Just to give you some perspective, a Ford F-150 has more than twice the drag coefficient of 0.59 because you're essentially driving a rectangular block down the road. Just like we've seen on Teslas, the ET7 features an e-latch system where the door handle pops out as you approach the vehicle. Super cool is a feature where once you are seated in the ET7, a slight pull on the door will automatically shut the door. Who needs a chauffeur anymore? The ET7 base model features a 70 kilowatt hour that gives it a 500 kilometer range or 310 miles. The 100 kilowatt battery gives it a 700 kilometer range or 434 miles. And the newly announced 150 kilowatt hour battery gives it over 1,000 kilometer range or 621 miles. What I've been super excited about to learn more is the 150 kilowatt hour battery, as this is where the mass adoption of EVs will overtake traditional vehicles. The 150 kilowatt hour battery is a solid state battery. So why is this important? Because solid state batteries are able to deliver higher densities, hence the 150 kilowatt hour, but also uses less toxic materials, and because it doesn't have a liquid electrolyte in it, it has a lower risk of catching fire during an accident. NIO mentioned that the cathode on the battery has a nano coating. In recent years, there has been development of advanced materials that, once applied, allow a much faster charge to batteries without degrading the internal charge components. This is important for EV makers like NIO because prolonged battery life means higher margins and less replacement costs down the road. Now, delivery for the ET7 is expected for Q1 of 2020. Now, NIO also has a great battery subscription service for buyers who want to lower their upfront costs. But I think the key to this battery subscription service is the continued ongoing revenue that will be generated from subscribers. Approximately 33% of current NIO owners are on the battery subscription, but this service opens up many other possibilities, diversifying their revenue generation programs. Think about how software companies like Microsoft and Adobe have transformed their business models since introducing software as a subscription. Along with this service, NIO also announced an increase in battery swapping stations, which is an automated battery swapping service that can be completed under a matter of 3 minutes. Now, my personal opinion is that swapping stations is another key to mass adoption for consumers who still have EV anxiety. NIO plans to have over 500 stations in operation by the end of 2021. Now, CEO William Li kind of took a stab at Tesla as he was going over the details of the NIO autonomous driving system. Aside from what was already known about the system from the Beijing Automotive Forum in September, William Li introduced a system that will now have 8 megapixel cameras and will allow the system to identify much better the various objects on the road and much further down the road. Another cool feature I like about this autonomous driving system is the use of LiDAR. The LiDAR unit uses pulse lasers to measure ranges. LiDARs have the advantage of generating instantaneous, massive amounts of measurements that can be accurate to the centimeter. Of course, this is all very important when you take a look at autonomous driving and safety. The whole system is managed by an onboard computer called the Atom and is powered by 4 of Nvidia's Orion system on a chip. Whew! Lots of great things announced, very positive for investors of NIO as we had expected. And I mentioned in my last video, if you believe in NIO for the long term, don't worry about timing the market or when to get in the stock. Just stick to your long-term strategy and get in on NIO when you can. With the announced delivery of over 17,353 cars for the year, revenues should come in strong for NIO if they continue to meet and exceed their delivery targets in 2021. Now, to complement your NIO holdings, 2 stocks to consider that should benefit from the continued growth in this segment. Specific to NIO is Nvidia, as I think their chips will continue to power NIO's autonomous driving units in their vehicles in the future. One of the things that China lags behind the US is their ability to develop complex computer chips to power consumer devices. So while that lag continues, Chinese companies will need to continue relying on US chip technology to make their products. As mentioned, Nvidia Orion SoC is the brains of the NIO autonomous driving system, and order for this chips will only continue as NIO delivers more vehicles. Now, of course, Nvidia is no slouch itself at $14.8 billion in revenue and a market cap of $328 billion. Nvidia has enjoyed continued growth in their video cards for not only the retail customer segment, but an increase in GPU demand for cryptocurrency miners. I have a long-term hold on Nvidia as I think they have proven that their R&D and their new product development will maintain their lead in the marketplace. Their stock has continued to rise from the lows of 180 when COVID first hit North America to a November 52-week high of $589.07. The stock closed at $531 on Friday, so it does have some room from its 52-week high. Nvidia does pay a dividend, but it's quite small from a percentage standpoint from today's share price. What I'm more interested in is the various other component makers that continue to benefit from this EV growth. If you have access to trade on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, Panasonic's a great, boring old stock that has steady trading on the market for many years. But if you start digging into component manufacturers such as Prologium, a Taiwanese battery manufacturer that is the most likely supplier for NIO's new solid-state battery, or NIO's LiDAR system, which was developed by American company InnoVusion, you'll find that they're all private companies, and you'll probably have to wait a long time before they go public, or if you're a billionaire, you could probably do some angel investing into those companies. I would recommend looking at large ETFs that are building a position into the EV market as one, you can indirectly own these companies through the ETF and trade them on the market. And 2, these large fund companies have a much better chance of investing in the private companies than most of us retail investors. So one ETF I'm following right now is the Global X Lithium and Battery Tech ETF, ticker symbol LIT. It invests in the full lithium cycle from mining and refining the metal through to battery production. LIT has literally been lit year to date, and since inception, it's been giving investors a 132% return. Its holdings is broken down into 43% materials, 28% industrials, 15% consumer discretionary, 10% information tech, and about 1.3% in financials. Its top 10 holdings include companies such as Albemarle Corp, the largest supplier of lithium to battery manufacturers, Panasonic, LG Chem, and more interestingly enough, they hold Tesla and Warren Buffett's backed BYD. LIT is currently trading close to its 52-week high and closed Friday at $70.87. Now, considering its performance to date based on the current economic fundamentals, I believe there's some upside for LIT in the future as a long-term hold. That being said, the ETFs were created to correspond their returns based on the underlying stock holding. So if any of those underlying stocks fall, LIT will as well. Vice versa, if those stocks continue to make new highs, theoretically speaking, lit should as well. Well, that's it for today's video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Every little bit helps. As mentioned, everything said here is just my opinion. Always consult a professional before investing, as everybody has a different situation. Also, leave a comment down below, as I want to get your take on NIO after NIO Day, and what other stocks you might be following that will benefit from the growth of the EV market. So thanks again for taking the time to watch the Business Report Show. Always be learning and always be investing. I'll catch you next time.